Good morning. I'm going to talk this morning and show you various rifle builds. I have a lot of questions that are asking me, and I'm going to try and cover some of this so it answers some of these questions that I repeatedly am asked and so forth. So I'm going to start here. This is one of my Takedown rifles. And this is built on a Winchester Model 70 action and fiberglass stock, has express sights, basically an orange glow front sight, and this particular build has become over a lot of years pretty popular. I build quite a number of these every year, various situations, and the scope mounted on this rifle is a Leupold VX5 HD 2.5 to 10 variable scope with a CDS system. The mounts are tally, quick detachable. You just simply, loosen these levers a couple of turns and you can take the scope off. And the scope obviously has to be taken off to be able to screw the barrel in and out. And there's a lock screw on the side here that the barrel shoulders up on the action, but this lock screw is here as double assurance, and it just needs to be just snugged down. And anyway, this is a very, very handy situation in a lot of aspects for people that are going anywhere hunting, that have to travel through airports and so forth, whether it's from this side, one side of the country here, the other side of the country, or other parts of the world. This can obviously be put in a fairly short case so that you don't have to try to maneuver yourself around through airports with your rifle case. That case could be slid down in a Cabela's duffel bag once it's declared at these airports, and you can travel pretty much kind of out of sight, out of mind that way. And these big long gun cases are not handy to try to get around airports and so forth. So it's real handy from that aspect, and that's actually why I started building these rifles many years ago. And the other aspect is this is real handy, to go somewhere and put in, if you've got a backpack in someplace, you can stick this, in your backpack. And it's not in your hands. You've got your hands free. Maybe you want to walk. A lot of country, it's pretty smart to walk with a walking stick. And because of various, differences in terrain and one thing and another, so you can keep yourself on both feet under you see. So it's real handy, to be on a boat, have a takedown, and you get to a destination, you can stick your gun together, just put it together in a minute or two, and take it apart in a minute or two. Just follow the various procedures and so forth. And anyway, that we're not limited to just this particular style of rifle that you see here. I build almost anything that is possible in the way of a rifle build, whether it's a conventional rifle or a takedown rifle. And I feel that some of the best hunting rifles, actual hunting rifles, I describe this as a true hunting rifle. One of the reasons being is because it's built around a hunting action. This is a Winchester Model 70. They function better than almost anything else. They feed cartridges extremely well. It's got a 3-position safety so that you can put it on half position and take cartridges out of your chamber and still be safe. You got a quick detachable floor plate. You see, you can drop cartridges out of the magazine box into your hand and so forth. And all my rifles, invariably, I build with two-piece type mounts, so everything's accessible. Your hand's accessible to the action for cartridges and so forth. Of course, the Winchester Model 70 is described as a controlled round feed. You put your cartridges in the magazine and you feed them from the magazine to the chamber. This is a very, very good feature. It's still one of the best features that's ever been built in a bolt action rifle. And my hunting rifles, I have hunting rifles built around a lot of different types of actions, but the Winchester Model 70, it's never been improved upon. It's never been improved upon for its versatility, its functionality in use in the hunting field, in tough conditions and so forth. And not only just fiberglass stocked rifles, but wood stocked rifles, simple wood stocked rifles that are stocked with maybe laminated stocks, rifles that are built with, gorgeous walnut stocks or maple stocks or whatever might happen to be, checkered and so forth. So, things start, pointing, and the more that you want, the higher the price is. And, I've built these rifles in, single barrel rifles, 2-barrel takedown rifles, 3-barrel takedown rifles. And, I think it's real sensible to have a rifle in a takedown with maybe 2 barrels. Let's say this rifle happens to be a .338 Winchester Magnum. Well, another very good choice would be perhaps a 7mm Remington Magnum, or maybe a .270 Weatherby, .264 Winchester on the other end of things, you see. So one end covers game kind of up to a certain size and so forth, and the other cartridges covers other game. I think that combination, like a .270 Weatherby and a .338 Winchester, that's really hard to beat. And the .270 Weatherby is an outstanding cartridge, and everybody that has one and has used it very much just loves the .270 Weatherby. I think that in a lot of aspects, it's one of our best hunting cartridges for most of our game. It's something that just makes a lot of sense, energy-wise, trajectory-wise, and recoil-wise. So, this kind of gives you an idea, a little bit better idea, me describing some of these situations. This is just a conventional stocked rifle. This is a .270 Weatherby Magnum. This is a Winchester Model 70, current Winchester Model 70. The same features that I just described, which is ideal. The difference being here is we have a conventional hunting stock. This is a Macmillan Edge ultralight stock. It's a real sensible stock. It's nice and trim. It's got a fairly slender grip, fairly slender forend. There's no extra bulk anywhere on this stock as a hunting rifle. The scope and the mounts are Leopold 2-piece bases and rings, and almost invariably use the ones with the windage adjustment, so we can keep our reticle centered, so that when we do make adjustments in our scopes, that we stay in the center of the adjustment area in the scope. This makes for a better condition for things to repeat and so forth by keeping things centered. This is a VX5 HD. This is a 3-15 by 44mm variable. These scopes are absolutely outstanding glass-wise. You're not going to find a scope made by anybody, really, that is any brighter or any sharper than these VX5 HD or VX6 HD series of scopes from Leopold. They went the extra mile. All of them have 30mm tubes, and this scope happens to have a cell here, a battery cell. This is for a fire dot reticle. This has intensity level setting for the fire dot. You can use it in normal daylight, poor daylight, poor shooting conditions, maybe when it's snowing or whatever. And of course, where things are legal to be able to shoot and use that at night. Following the proper, law situations within whatever state that you might happen to be using it in. But this is the size, the weight of the weight of rifle that I feel is an ideal type of a weight in a hunting rifle. The weight of the barrel and so forth, everything taken all into consideration. I built ultralight rifles, light rifles, medium light rifles. This is what I call like a medium light hunting rifle. You can stand to carry this all day, but when you have to get the job done, it's got the makeup all the way around, the fit, the caliber, and whatnot to be able to get the job done. You can hunt almost anywhere in the world with, say, for instance, a 270 Weatherby with the proper choice of bullets and be able to take almost any type of game that you want to take anywhere. That's where having a choice, deciding what you're going to hunt, what you need to hunt. And I find that there are a lot of people that are using, in a lot of the instances, too much gun. Everybody thinks that the bigger, the better. Not only too much gun, but a lot of people are using way too much scope. This is a 3 to 15. I don't need this much scope. I want the Leopold 2 to 10 scope for a hunting scope. I don't need that kind of power. And I have people I want you to build me a light rifle, and then they want to put a 2 or 3 pound scope on the gun. Well, what do you ask me to build a light rifle for you? Or if you want to put a heavyweight scope on it, have me build a heavyweight rifle for you with a heavyweight scope, then it makes sense. But these real high power scopes, 18, 20, 25, 30, 32 power, maybe even higher power than that, those aren't hunting scopes. Those are varmint type scopes or scopes to shoot from a tactical situation, from the bench, and so forth. And this is as big a scope, absolutely as big a scope as you need on any hunting rifle, and power and everything else. You don't need anything any heavier. I've tried it all. I've built rifles and put scopes on, all sorts of scopes on. And there's good choices, but there's a lot of bad choices, and quite often the too much power and the bulk and the size is where choices are bad. But as I said, the functionality, these actions are just as slick as can be. They feed cartridges equally as slick, work very fine, and this is what I recommend. I'll be glad to build a rifle around almost anything that you'd like, but I have my preferences. I think that there are things that are better than other things, and I just simply say so. This is a heavy varmint benchrest scope, actually benchrest rifle. Benchrest rifle. This is built around a Stoll Panda action. These are extremely fine actions. A fellow by the name of Ralph Stoll came up with the idea. Ralph passed away many years ago, but somebody saw the possibilities, and the Kelbleys, saw the possibilities, and they continue to make these very fine actions. This action has a right bolt, a left-hand loading port. This is absolutely ideal to sitting at the bench and shooting one shot at a time. You don't have to reach around the gun. You're right-handed, your rifle's on your right at the bench. you just simply feed the cartridges with your left hand into the loading port. And when you pull the bolt back, you just kick the case out into your hand and set it in your loading block and continue to shoot. This is a very ideal situation. This is a heart barrel, like almost all, not every rifle that I build, but most rifles that I build, I choose heart barrels because I feel that they're the very best barrels made. I've used everybody's barrels over time, and they're just nothing better than the heart barrels, and I've been using them for 40 some odd years. I know what works. I know what doesn't work. And, you know, the hearts are wonderful people to deal with, and you're never going to get a bad barrel from the hearts, because they don't make bad barrels. They make the very best barrels that can be made. And they've won, you know, bench rest matches all over the country and in other parts of the world, and one thing or another. This is a Macmillan. This is a Macmillan, you know, heavy varmint stock with a wide forend. And anyway, you know, it's very ideal. It's got the ability here in the butt to unscrew this fitting and add some weight if you'd wanted a little bit of weight in the butt to change the weight. This happens to be mounted in tally 30 millimeter rings on this machine dovetail. This is a Night Force scope. This Night Force scope goes from 12 to 42 power. Now at the bench, this could be an advantage. I don't see an advantage over that type of a power. There's such a thing as having too much power. But this, you've got the option here. And depending on conditions, you can turn your power up, your power down. This particular scope has the ability, you know, it's got a lighted reticle and so forth. So you can basically take advantage of that. And of course, the parallax adjustment system. And Night Force scopes are quite popular scopes. They're heavy, they belong on rifles like this. There's only a couple of scopes that are made by Night Force that really belong on hunting rifles. 2 and 3 pound scopes don't belong on hunting rifles. Scopes more in the neighborhood of between about 12 and about 24 ounces, a pound and a half. That should be the limit. And anyway, this gives you another idea. You know, I've built just about every type of rifle for almost every type of situation. But I thought it was kind of time to kind of refresh what the details of what I actually do in the way of a rifle build.